Hey guys, Joshua and Eli here from This Is Podcast, the show where we talk about whatever we want, whenever we want, and nobody cares.
Welcome to the show where we talk about last week's news today. This is Headlines. Hey guys, it's Joshua here, and hope you're having a beautiful day.
Yep.
And this is the first This Is Headlines, encompassing August 1st to August 8th. Now, this is all of last week's news, but we're gonna kind of catch you up. And this kind of spun from different things have happened. We kind of mentioned them at the beginning of the podcast.
Yeah.
And we decided that we didn't want to take up all that podcast time doing the news, so we're gonna do this segment. So, guys, comment below, tell us what you think of this video. Do you like this? Do you not like it? Let us know. And having said that, on with the news.
Yep.
So all this week, the Republican Party has kind of been in disarray. There's been a lot of divisiveness in the Republican Party this week, as their candidate Donald Trump, who is running for the Republican ticket, picked a fight with Khizr and Ghala Khan, who are the parents of Humayun Khan, a U.S. Army soldier that was killed in Iraq.
Yep.
And he kind of picked a fight with them, and a lot of U.S. soldiers kind of outcried and said, "Hey, they're a Gold Star family. They lost their son. You don't do that." And Democrats and Republicans, have been quite a few Republicans that have said, "Whoa, that's
no bueno.
You can't do that." Also, this week, a soldier gave his a retired soldier gave his Purple Heart to Donald Trump right before a rally. And Donald Trump went on to say, "I always wanted to get a Purple Heart, but this is much easier," quote. And again, there was a lot of outcry.
You can have your own opinions on that. That's interesting.
And then, of course, he withheld his endorsement of Paul Ryan and John McCain, who are some of the heavyweights in the Republican Party, even indicating that he might endorse Nellen, who is Paul Ryan's adversary,
his opposer,
for the primaries, the Senate primaries. So this is now, he did give his endorsement to both Paul Ryan and John McCain a few days later.
Yeah.
But all of this has kind of left the Republican Party kind of divided on policies and on Donald Trump. And has caused Hillary Clinton to pull ahead 8 points in recent polls. However, there are 91 days until the election, so it's still anybody's game. Just because the Republican Party is divided because Trump has gotten some flack doesn't necessarily mean that Hillary's going to win. She's only up by 8 points now. So I would say at this point it's still very much anybody's game, and we'll see how how things continue and see what happens. Take it away.
Next, on August 2nd, it hit the news that Pope Francis of the Catholic Church of Rome had been talking to some Polish bishops about transsexuality. And I believe there's a quote said, "Today children are taught this at school, that everyone can choose their own sex." He said it's the epic of sin against God, the Creator. Transgenderism is a really big subject right now in the media, in the news. And it's a very diverse subject. A lot of people on both sides. Some people in the middle,
Well, it made him somewhat unpopular with the LGBTQ community.
Yeah.
I don't think that he's looking to be popular or unpopular. He's just looking to
spread the ideas of the church.
Spread the ideas of the church, and that kind of falls in that realm. So that happened.
Yeah, whether or not you believe in transgenderism, he doesn't. He's the Pope. It's against his religion, and a lot of people were expecting him to be indifferent about it or whatever.
Well,
And
he's been very liberal.
He has been considered a very liberal pope, but also one of the cooler popes. A lot of people like him. Non-Catholics like having him as the pope. And he's expressed his ideas on homosexuality before, and how, although he doesn't believe in it, he does believe that
he shouldn't judge.
He shouldn't judge, which is wasn't widely taken in well either. So by the Catholic Church, and then the opposite, is accepted by the Catholic Church, isn't accepted by the people. So, not nearly as divided as the GOP right now, but it is indeed something that's very interesting that he's jumping around with that.
So, kind of on that same vein, of course, the next day, the U.S. Supreme Court voted 5-3 to block a court order that allows a young man, a young transgender, Gavin Grimm, who's a transgender boy, from using the boys' bathroom in his Virginia high school. And they've blocked the court order until they decide whether they're going to hear the case on whether or not this young transgender should be able to use the boys' bathroom. And they're doing it to maintain the status quo until they decide.
See, I think that's actually interesting because there was the infamously labeled bathroom law in North Carolina, where North Carolina had made a law saying that people couldn't use the bathroom opposite of their both assigned sex. And when that happened, the Supreme Court of the United States ruled that to be unconstitutional. So I find it really interesting that there's still people fighting against this. I'm not giving my personal preference on it here. I'm just saying it's really interesting that there's still people saying, and now the court is questioning whether or not he should be allowed to. In my opinion, when the court takes a stand, says their opinion, why are they changing it so fast? Why are they?
Well, I don't think they're changing it. The thing was that the decision that the Supreme Court made was to allow homosexuals to marry. But there weren't a lot. I know, but there wasn't. They really haven't made a definitive come out and say this is going to be the law.
Well, what I was referring to is when they condemned the bathroom law of North Carolina. Now they didn't. I shouldn't say they called it unconstitutional. They didn't. They threatened to pull funding. Right,
which is not the same as declaring it constitutional. So what they're going to be looking at if they decide to hear this case is if allowing this young transgender
is constitutional.
Is constitutional allow them to use the bathroom, or is it constitutional to let the state decide?
Yeah.
So it'll be interesting to see how that pans out. So that same day, a knife attack took place in Russell Square, London. One American was killed, Darlene Horton, and the attacker, the knife wielder, injured 6 others. The rampage was ended when police used a stun gun to disable him, and he actually will go to court. He actually is scheduled for trial on this Tuesday, August 9th.
Also, on August 4th, we have, since August 2nd, residents around Green Bay have been seeing the Stephen King nightmare walking the streets after dark.
This guy.
Several citizens have called the police. However, the police have stated that he is not breaking the law and he can walk in a clown costume anywhere he wants. And that is legally true.
Yeah.
If I wanted to dress up as a clown right now, I could walk. If I wanted to dress up as a Ku Klux Klan member, I could walk around right now. If I wanted to dress up as...
Well, but anything. I think people are concerned. I mean, there's some masked guy walking around town with black balloons. He actually has his face... somebody has made him a Facebook page.
Yeah.
And they've labeled him Gags, which is a horrible serial killer clown name.
It's very bad.
If you're going to, obviously, if you're going to go ahead and go that far and give this guy a Facebook page and everything, you should come up with a better serial killer clown name.
Yeah.
I'm just saying.
It is scary. I don't think if he walked up in front of my house You know, in front of
You'd be
this
somewhat
house,
worrisome.
I might prepare to fight. I
Although,
don't know.
as I understand, this has been kind of a trend recently. People dressing up as clowns and showing up on people's porches or in graveyards.
I have seen it before.
It's been kind of this trend going around dressing up like a creepy clown. So there is that.
There is that.
Friday started the Olympics
In Rio de Janeiro.
in Rio de Janeiro. The U.S. picked up the first gold medal of the Olympics. A young woman, Jenny Thrasher, won the women's 10-meter air rifle event.
Yep.
And picked up the first gold for the U.S.
I actually got to watch that from work.
Oh, did you?
Yep.
And as of yesterday, the top 3 countries are the U.S. with 5 gold medals, China with 5 gold medals, and Australia with 3. Now that's as of yesterday. Now I believe Australia's pulled ahead today. Don't quote me on that. We'll have more on that next week. And also, this happened.
August 5th, Chicago PD released a video detailing the shooting of Paul O'Neill, an unarmed black man, in a show of openness. The 3 officers involved in the shooting have had their police authority stripped until the investigation into their contact is complete. The officer who fired the killing shots body cam was not on leading.
Was not on.
Leading some to believe that there may be a cover-up, heightening the tensions between black citizens and police officers in Chicago.
Now, have you seen the video?
I've seen the video where he opened fire on the car.
Yes.
I have not, of course, seen the video where he shoots the guy.
Right. So there's several things here.
One thing that they immediately actually mentioned is that even if they find that they can't do anything about him shooting the guy directly, they did say he did break a new rule in Chicago where you're not allowed to shoot at a moving car.
Now, but that is subject to somewhat that's somewhat fuzzy. There is a law that says they can't shoot into a vehicle that is into the vehicle if it's being used as a weapon. However, that is negotiable. If an officer feels that it is detrimental to the saving lives of others, that he must fire in the car, that is going to be reviewed by internal affairs.
Yeah.
It is an interesting. They say he is. It's an interesting scenario because they did shoot into the car, but then if you watch one of the police cams, the officer is clearly getting out of the car as this Jaguar almost hits the officer, and then they begin to fire in the car. And the thing is he almost hit the officer. He did very nearly. The officer gets out of his car, and he has just enough time to sidestep before he gets nailed by the car, which could be considered an act of aggression. I mean, it was. However, the killing shots weren't made until the young man was on foot. He was out of the vehicle. He wrecks his car. He gets out. He's running on foot, and he's shot and killed. And at that point, he's unarmed. He doesn't have a gun. You do see them handcuffing him. He's blood soaked. It doesn't seem to be a necessity at that point to handcuff him as much as to get an ambulance there.
Yeah.
So
that was a really interesting video.
The whole situation is very gray. It is interesting that the officers that actually made the killing shots body cam was off. Was it off? Was it not off? I don't know. Was it turned off? Did the officer turn it off before shooting him? Was the cam footage destroyed by Chicago PD? We don't know. This is a lot of gray territory. So. Very interesting.
Talking on the same day, however, on a much lighter note, Xavier University in Cincinnati, Ohio. We are from Ohio, not Cincinnati. Just installed the nation's first pizza ATM. Now, I have not seen this, but I'm assuming this is a machine that you plug money into and a pizza comes out.
Yep.
Okay.
Yeah, I mean
that works for me.
So 2 Belgian policemen were attacked Saturday by what ISIS is claiming to be a soldier of ISIS. He did shout Allahu Akbar before attacking them. ISIS took credit for it and saying that he's in the assault devices. He was wielding a machete. He wounded 2 police officers before being shot and killed by a 3rd officer. And this attack took place just outside of a police station in Charleroi, I believe is how that's pronounced in Belgium. If it's not, I apologize.
I guess the last thing is left for me. On August 6th, a new statue was revealed of Lucille Ball, the infamous character in I Love Lucy, the old show. And specifically, you have labeled that the old one seemed to be made of the nightmares of children. And this is in her hometown of Celeron, which is, I don't know where that is.
In New York.
It's in New York? Okay. And, oh yeah, I said that. But, it was commissioned in 2009. The citizens of Celeron had dubbed it Scary Lucy. That was the original. But with this crazed look in her eyes and holding out her crack spoon, we at this podcast have come up with a better one, Meth Head Lucy. That is the name of the original that we have dubbed it. However, the new one looks good.
The new one looks
looks fantastic. The other one
is terrifying.
That's my interpretation.
You can't even stop looking at it. It's just so horrifying.
Yeah.
So that is the news for this last week.
Yeah. Hopefully you enjoyed this, and if you did, comment below. If you didn't, comment below. If you'd like to see more news, less news, more interesting news, let us know. And comment throughout the week if you think there's any news that we should make mention of that we may or may not. Whatever. Well, until next time, I'm Eli.
I'm Joshua.
And this is Headlines. There's a sale at Penny's.
Shouldn't you be researching the news for This is Headlines?
Yeah. If you liked today's episode, don't forget to press that little like button below. And also, subscribe if you want to see more of what we have for you. Also, comment if you have any recommendations or ideas for us. Also, share with your friends if you think they'll enjoy it.
And don't forget to check us out on Facebook and Instagram at This Is Podcast. Now, if you'll excuse us, we have to get back to work. Thanks, guys.